We are currently sitting at 17.33% of results captured across all our 4,974 voting stations. The 17% translates to 844 voting stations that have finalized the elections in the province. We have one municipality that has concluded, which is Mpofana municipality in Moyo River, where all their results have been captured and audited and finalized. In terms of the process that we follow, when the results comes through to the different capturing sites in all the municipalities, we first have to ascertain that the results arrived with the tamper-proof envelopes still intact. It is then received in our capturing site by our staff in the presence of party liaison committees and observers that are stationed in our capturing sites. They then capture the results. If they are happy that the tamper-proof envelope has not been tampered with, the result is captured and then it is passed on to independent results auditors who have to go through the results, capture the results using their own unique code, and the two results have got to match. The one captured by our staff and the other one captured by the auditor. If there is something that doesn't match, the result is rejected and it has to be investigated, and we do not finalize it until there is congruence between what is captured by our staff and what is captured by the auditors themselves. Once the results have been audited by our independent auditors, it then becomes available in our system. All contesting political parties and independents have been issued a unique code to be able to access the results before they are even released to the public. So as indicated, we are sitting at 17% of results that have been audited. We also have voting stations that are still counting in the province, and we have a total of 98 of them, which makes up 2% of voting stations in the province. The stations where we are still counting are largely concentrated in eThekwini Metro, District 22, uMkhonto municipality, as well as District 29, Oku district. Those are carrying the highest numbers of the 2% of voting stations that are still counting in the province. But there are other smaller figures in other parts of the province, including Inkosi Langalibalele municipality, Dandi, Newcastle, Manguzi, Big Five, Mtuba, KwaDuguza, Ndwedwe, Ixopo, and Gokstad. Yesterday, we experienced a late surge in numbers, particularly again in the metro. The mornings, the processes were flowing pretty reasonably, but after lunch we had a sudden surge, and in some of our voting stations, our presiding officers were quite overwhelmed with the numbers that we saw coming in after lunch yesterday. We have indicated that we had a challenge with the voter management device that we use to automate processes at the voting stations. The idea is that it was going to make our processes much more efficient, but apparently there was an issue with the ICT's infrastructure that supports the functioning of the VMD. So as early as 9 a.m. yesterday, we had already advised our presiding officers to put the VMD aside if this is the reason we are experiencing delays, and people should vote. We should administer a manual voting process. After that, we saw improvement, but because of the numbers, particularly in the voting centers and high population VDs, we saw a large number of queues, which was replicated in other different parts of the country in the voting stations that we categorize as voting centers. But as we had indicated, anyone who was in the queue by 9 p.m. yesterday had an opportunity to vote for as long as they were willing to remain in the queues and be processed in every voting station. It didn't matter how long the queue was. At 9, we put one member of the SAPS at the end of the queue, so there's no new people join the queues, and we process every voter that we had in our voting stations.